Right. I'll bring us in 3, 2, 1. Hello guys and welcome to the League of Europe D3 podcast with myself, Ivan Mike, and the legend that is LOE Mark. How's it going, bud?
I'm good. I'm just recently removed from traffic. This is a very last minute podcast, we could almost call it the grid walk, couldn't we, I suppose?
Well, as long as we don't have Ted's notebook. Speaking of notebook, I do have my notes right next to me.
It was an action-packed race. I was watching from very sunny roads in D3, and I was enjoying it. It wasn't sunny at that time. It was pitch black. I can't believe. Special shout out to Educ, who is in Finland, who is 2 hours ahead, as is I think Heated. I'm not really sure how you guys regularly do that at like 8, half 8 in the evening. Absolute madness.
Well, I mean, you got Caesar in D2 that is like 5 hours ahead.
yeah. That's mad, but yeah, no.
Speaking of Educ, he did chuck it on pole position.
Yeah, well, maybe a small asterisk. Hope he doesn't mind me saying with the soft tyre, but still, nevertheless, you got to do the lap, haven't you?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he's got that on his record now. No one's going to be able to take that away from him. He's got a pole position. And I know last week we were saying that there's going to be some Spanish lads up there, and well, we wasn't disappointed. Adri putting it on second, fastest on the medium compound runners. Absolutely flying he was at his home Grand Prix.
Yeah, we did think that a few, there's 3 Spaniards, there's obviously 4 Spaniards in D3, but Nico couldn't make it. But Adri and MCR were definitely wearing the hopes of the Spanish nation, with Frey perhaps being the Carlos Sainz to the Alonso.
Oh, to be honest, give Frey credit, and he done very well early on in this scenario. He was elbows out, like he was fighting for every single position that he could get.
Yeah, no, I know him and Jasper were having a good battle for quite some while as well, and but it's good. Just in the quali, just like you say, obviously Adri doing really well. Mr. Wouter in third reminds me of when I was in D3 racing with Bree, because Mr. Wouter hasn't ever been one of the quickest guys previously, but the more I watch him, the quicker he seems to get.
He's starting to creep it now, isn't he? He is starting to creep up to that fight for what was the battle for third in the championship behind MCR and James. Obviously, he did get that win in Baku, and that propelled him further up. And so the battle for fourth, for me, Wouter is really starting to throw his name into that hat. And I thought it would have been Ryan B that would have been the next one to kind of join that fight.
I did. Pre-season, he was seeing some of his racing, because he races quite a bit with LFC, obviously, who I'm friends with in real life, and I know LFC was saying he was really quick. So I think there's probably more to come from Ryan at some point.
Well, I mean, Ryan is one of my rivals, so I want Ryan to get back up there. I mean, he got a little bit unlucky in the race that we were going doing a little bit, but I think there's a lot of people now jockeying for position in the championship. We got a few guys that are still fighting to keep their top spot, a few that are still fighting to keep the top half in the midfield, and then you got a few other guys now that are coming in and really stepping up and challenging those positions, like Mr. Rota, Big W. I mean, I know he's come down from Div 2, so we expect him to be quick, but he's starting to fight for those spots as well.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is with Big W is that I didn't realise, but this is his first season league racing. So the fact he had a natural pace to be in D2 initially is good. So, I mean, I think he'll just keep kicking on. I think it'll get to the point towards the end of the season where maybe he will be the pace that we saw in kind of TT. But everyone in that top 11, I mean, you look at obviously MCR come 5th in quali, James in 6th, Big W 7th, Smitsky 8th, Kursk 9th, Aledi 10th, Ryan B 11th. All of those guys, I mean, most of those guys I think have a podium, and they're not necessarily the way round that you would have assumed if you read out those top 11. It's just so close, and the times were between, if we exclude Educk because of his soft run, between 6th to 11th was less than a second, which is some going.
Yeah, it's insanely close at the moment in D3, because at any race weekend you could probably pick out like 5, maybe 6 people that could win that race. You could pick out like any of 10 that could get a podium. So it's insanely competitive at the moment, and we all know that LFC is capable of getting up there as well as Aledi. So you know, we're going to be seeing them coming through sometime in the future.
And then obviously we had Frey, Ghost, and then yourself on the hards. What happened? I'm guessing I haven't seen quali.
I invalidated my medium lap.
Bit costly. A bit costly, I imagine.
I mean, I've said this excuse in the chat. There was a lizard on the track. I went face to face with Godzilla.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I was lucky to survive.
Go to the stewards. We'll get the lizard a few penalty points. But
also towards the end of the race, now me and Peter were going through the laps. Now there were 2 seagulls. There were 2 seagulls on the corner.
This is some iRacing level of detail. I think it wouldn't surprise me if they had that or something. Do you want rogue birds on the track?
That's one thing I do want. Well, we gotta have an excuse at the season award. I will win that.
And then I suppose rounding out, we had everybody on the softs, but Jasper on the, what was he on? He was on the mediums, and then obviously Macca on the hards. I'm guessing he invalidated too. Not his. This is a very good track for him. I was bigging him up before the race. It's not the best for him. And then obviously Dave and Cloudy, who set no time. So a real mixed up grid in a lot of senses.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Dave at the moment in terms of pace, because he's definitely got some great pace, but I think a lot like Nico, he's getting unlucky in a couple of these races.
He's got great pace going into corner 4. He just doesn't slow down. he took out LFC in what was it looked like a Scud missile flying through. But
the torpedo lives on.
I've raced with Dave for many seasons, and he was quicker. He was quicker than me substantially when I first joined. And he had his moments, and then he got a really good podium in Division 2 at Mexico. But his pace just doesn't seem. I don't know if he just doesn't practice as much, because he's really quick. He used to be really quick. I can't see why his pace has dropped off to the point.
He was up there for China.
Yeah.
And I think he was up there as well in Bahrain and Hungary at certain points as well.
Yeah, this is it. I just think he, don't know, maybe gets me excited wheel to wheel. He's not a dirty driver, he just gets a bit, I think he panics, from what
a bit nervous.
Yeah, maybe not nervous as such, but you know, like just, you second guess yourself. It's very easy to. And I think maybe that's a common trait with him.
Well, Yeah, I mean, we do hope that he's going to be able to turn it around and get back up to where he was a couple of races ago, because I think he could definitely be another one to chuck into that that battle with about 10 different people with us.
Yeah, definitely. So,
But
onto the
I
race.
think we got to talk about Smitsky.
On the Smitsky? What happened with Smitsky?
I'm looking at the restart right now. It just looks foolish.
He did report himself. I know that, to the stewards. That should come out at some point. I don't know the result because I am not LOE steward, but I don't think it will be like a quali ban or a race ban or anything. I just think it was yeah, I've seen it. It's not the best, but I don't know. I think sometimes people, I noticed it in Baku in Division 2. I think sometimes people get a bit over reliant on the racing line, and if they can't see it clearly,
that's what done me in Bahrain.
yeah. And I think that tends to be the trouble. If you can't see it too clearly, people do tend to make mistakes. So that's what I would guess with that. Smitsky's normally quite his name never normally comes up in these conversations. He's not one of the usual suspects. So
yeah, it was a bit of a shock and that to see. Not only Smitsky go into the wall, but he also took Recurse with him, who could have been on for a good race himself.
Yeah, and the podium is. Well, this podium hasn't. I know this podium never has happened before this season. Adri in first with a very not that dominant victory to Wuta. With Big W way behind.
It just looked like those two just had the pace all the way through it. Like they just too quick for anyone else to catch up, and it just looked like they had the exact same pace when it came to the hard compounds. Just not be able to close in or get into that fight.
Yeah, no, great to see Wuta improve, and Adri. Adri is, I mean, last game, me and him I was slightly quicker. Like, I would say, consistently 1 or 2 tenths quicker a lap, but not much. And for him to be floundering a bit, I thought he would be one of the favourites for D3. And if he keeps going on the way he is, he pushes himself back into contention. So I'm not shocked really that he's won, but I'm shocked
well, since the rivals thing came out and Adri wasn't in the top group, I've been really saying to everyone, like, look, he should be in the top group now. You know, he does have the pace to be there. He's got unlucky in Hungary because he was battling with MCR for the win, and then then all that happened. In China, he's solidified 5th. He could have gone for a battle for the final step on the podium, but he decided that he didn't have the pace. The battle with MCR then eventually me, so he decided to pit. Baku, he had the incident with James, which dropped him down. And you know, Spain, he goes on to win.
Yeah, and he's still within, not touching distance as such, but he's not out of it. So it's a good effort from him, and it brings him back into the title challenge, and a home winner, of course. Well,
yeah, I suppose it does help as well with James in these past couple of races slipping up a little bit.
I've always said that James won't win the league. I get on really well with James, by the way. It's not a personal thing to anyone, especially James if he's listening. But he is prone to a mistake so much, and it's starting to creep in now. I'm starting to wonder if that will be prevalent through the season, or if he can kind of switch back on. I think he's quite good at Monza, so we'll have to see. But
the thing is with James at the moment is that every time he's had these mistakes, there hasn't really been anyone close to him in the championship that really take advantage of it.
yeah, yeah,
As you know, Baku MCR spun it on the exit of turn 2 after the collision between Adri and James. Believe in I wouldn't say anything about Hungary, because that was literally the second race and we had no idea how things were going to shape up at that point.
yeah. And he was.
And apart from that, he's been right at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. And be interesting to see how he develops. Obviously, his a most apparent title rival, MCR, in 4th. Interesting that he wasn't too near the front, I suppose. And then behind him we had Eduk, who had 8 seconds of pens. I'm guessing one of them would have been a speeding in the pit lane, being 8 seconds, and then a 3-second pen. So he actually finished 3rd. No, he didn't. He finished 4th on track because Big W had a 3-second pen too, which dropped him, but it did drop him down 1 place to MCR. But that's a cracking effort from Eduk.
Yeah, and to go from the softs to the hards on that track, I mean, you gotta give him credit with his doing that. He took those softs a very long way.
I'm amazed. It didn't work out that badly for him either. Well, I've not seen that strategy being pulled off quite so well, so kudos to him for that. And then there was a big battle going on directly behind though, wasn't there? That was a great battle to watch. You and Heated were neck and neck, weren't you, for quite some time towards the end?
Yeah, and what's called Ryan B was in that battle with us as well. At one point,
Yes.
It was a 3-way battle, and I was literally hanging onto the back of it. I was like, I got a little bit higher wing. I can't get past these two on the streets. So I was like just stuck behind them, watching them battle into turn 1 all the time, and then I made a mistake and I dropped like a second back, and then I think there was a little bit of side-by-side action through turn 3, and the wheels might have touched and Ryan B just went around.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. Dropped him obviously down behind James, who come in 8th. Didn't really know. James obviously 2 stopped, so James obviously had an incident. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think he done the exact same thing as what Ryan B done. I think he was side-by-side with someone and he also lost it.
Yeah, and
I remember catching up to him and he just ducked straight into the pits. Now he was like, tyres overcooked, they're gone, just go in and get a fastest lap.
and obviously Jasper had his. It was agonising for him because he was 8th on track and he dropped back to 10th. His gaggle of fans were very sad upon seeing that. I remember seeing so. But a good result for him. He keeps plugging away with points, Jasper. Just at the back end.
Like Gibbo, he's always there to get the points.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then we had an absolute stellar amount of finishes, to be fair. We had a Leddy in 11th. Smitsky in 12th, obviously, who had a bit of an up and down race. And then Dave, obviously, as well, who again had an up and down race, and Kursk. I can't speak on Cloudy Ghost in particular. Obviously, LFC had an off as well, as did Ibo. But everyone finished other than Maka. So that's quite something.
I will say this, though. The first lap, the battle with Ibo, GG Ibo, GG. I was absolutely stunned. He went clean around the outside in turn 3. I was like, what is this?
This is Ibo's favourite track, and I'm gutted for him. He won't have been chuffed with his result, but he's actually quite swift around Spain historically. He's quite confident there. So yeah, I was a bit gutted to see that result, but that really as a whole, I think it's shaken up. It's not visibly shaken up the title race because the standings haven't changed that much, but what it has is kind of concertinaed everything a little bit with the top. You could even argue top 5. It's a bit of a push putting you in the title race.
Yeah, there's a bit of a push. I mean, when we get on to previewing Italy now, I'll say I'm not likely to stay 5th at the end of this weekend.
Yeah, but you know, we've got James, who has picked up 10 points in the last 2 races compared to 50 in the previous 2. That gives you an idea about how he's been struggling the last 2 races. But even then, you know, MCR's on. He's only picked up a 5th and a 4th in the last 2 races, and he's on 86, 5 behind. And then you've got Heated on, who's just picking up points. He's got 33s. He's only 14 behind James.
I wonder where Heated would have been if he did race in Hungary.
Yeah. This is it. I think.
I just wonder where he would have been.
The top. Well, if we include Big W as well, and Nico and Wouter, I think the top 8. I mean, it would take something for Big W to win, but I wouldn't rule him out necessarily because there's enough people battling for first that other people can lose chunks of points. It's different if it was like a 3-horse race, then he might struggle to come back into it. But
to be honest, I mean, we can't even rule out Smitsky in that fight either, because he's right there with Big W and Mr. Ruta in the championship. He's just had a couple of unlucky races.
Yeah.
So he could definitely get some good points here today.
Absolutely. So, I suppose on to Monza then. You've mentioned that you're a little bit slow compared to your normal pace.
I mean, there's a little bit slow, and then there's my slow.
Why?
I am not slow that a snail is actually keeping up with me.
What is it about the track?
I just can't. I can't hook it all together.
It's.
I mean, I maintain that a Ascari on the controller is one of the worst corners to do.
Are you on medium TC?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you touch that curb on the exit, no matter what happens, especially on worn tyres,
back end's going.
you're gone, and you can't take it back. Because on no TC you do have, when people, for the guys that are on med TC and get scared of no TC, the one thing to mention about no TC is that you have more control when the car starts to go. It's easier to make the car go by far and lose the rear end, but you can save it a lot easier than on medium TC. I don't think you can save it really on medium TC.
Well, I tried a bit of Monza practice earlier with no traction control, just trying to get my A in. And the first sector, you know, pretty decent in that, kind of matching my personal best in the first sector. Second sector, I lost about a 10th. Third sector in Ascari, I just got a little bit of a snap. Lost the back end, and anyone knows anything about racing on controller, if you lose the back end, it is it's one of those things where you've got to be incredibly accurate with your trigger, with your right thumb on the analog stick.
Yeah. it's a tough one. It's a real tough one, this track. I think it rewards consistency, and it definitely rewards consistency and the ability to not lose too much time when you take a corner badly. But it also, I think it does reward. It helps if you can do no TC well, purely also because of tyre wear. I think you get more tyre wear on the rear tyres on medium. Although I haven't really done that this game, so I can't talk too much. I'm guessing it's the same as 18. So it's a tough. I think it will help the no assist guys, like Adri, and like who else uses no assist? Big W, I believe, uses no assist. So.
Well, I mean, I used to be no assist back on the wheel. I mean, this is my first season on controller, so I mean, we go back to the pre-season. I had full traction control on, auto gears. Where I am now, with manual gears and medium traction.
Yeah.
So I'm slowly getting there, but still a learning curve for me.
So who do you think will be top 3?
Right. Is Big W racing tonight?
He is.
Big W's definitely going to be up there. I'm gonna say Nico as well, because Nico's been showing a fair good amount of pace in some of the practice races. And third, I'm gonna chuck in Router. Mr. Router.
Okay. I'm gonna say Adri first, Big W second, Heated third. I always think Heated has, in tracks where it's easy to lose it, Heated keeps his head. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a couple of guys that are quicker that bin it, and Heated picks up the pieces.
I mean, I'm hoping for a wet race, I am.
Oh God. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
I need to be that. I did a little bit of time trial in the rain. I was like, okay, I can actually do this in the rain.
No. I don't know.
I think I'll spice things up.
Low downforce track with rain. It's just not fun, is it?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
But the one thing that I suppose leading into a new section, a new old section for people that have listened to the podcast long enough, we've had an interview take place. We're going to be joined by Jasper, who wants to give us a bit of an insight into his league so far, give us a bit of an update on his crazy fan base, and wants to give us a bit of a rundown about his history with games and why he joined LOE. So it would just be me and Jasper because it was pre-recorded, but yeah, looking forward to this one, and we get to hear a little bit about his fanatical dad who listens to the podcast too, and the races. So on to that aspect. And on to our next section of the D3 podcast. We have an interview with one of our newer drivers, and someone that's fairly new to league racing and Formula One games as a whole. I'm joined here by the man with the orangey wall in the D3 chats and the commentate in the race streams. So I'm joined here by Jasper. How are you doing? I'm good. It's it's nice to get a bit of an insight into the drivers, and this is one of the ways we'll be doing it. We'll be doing some written interviews and stuff as well. But no, just it's nice to get this done. So I suppose first and foremost, first question is, how did you find LOE? How did you come across it. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, they're very similar actually to how I got into league racing. I used to race, you know, as a kid. I used to race Gran Turismo, and I used to love it. And then I thought, well, do you know, I'd quite like to do that again. And then looked at a couple of leagues, and then kind of stumbled across what was PRL. What was the game? What Formula One game was it? Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like, yeah. You, I'll hit Ibo up. Ibo definitely still plays that every now and again. I'm almost certain. But I'll speak to him. So obviously, you know, it's good that obviously you mentioned Dan. Dan's obviously a former D3 driver himself, and a very quick guy. In Division 3, you're obviously teaming up with Cloudy Clouds. How are you finding that with your teammate? Oh. Yeah. Oh, cool. So how is your how's the season gone so far for you? Because I've seen that obviously you've picked up 11 points so far, with 5 starts. How do you feel that's, you know, the season's gone so far for you? Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, considering you're new to, you know, racing as a, you know, well, not new, you know what I mean, but you've come back to it, a very yeah. Mhm. Yeah, no. And you're beating a lot of you're beating some experienced guys. I mean, Dave Jarvu, who's in the Haas, he has been racing for don't know. You know, I think his first season was like 10 seasons ago. I think he's been racing like 5 years, maybe even 7 years in this league. So that'll tell you a lot. Obviously, in Car Cannon, who hasn't been here too much, you know, but there's a lot of Dutch guys as well. I'm noticing in D3. And from what I can see here, I think you're second of the Dutch dudes. It's only Mr. Ruta who is one thing, I've already mentioned it in the the intro of things, but you have some fans. You always have some fans in the streams. I believe one is your father. No, is it Frank? You were saying? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is awesome, to be fair. And then you have a lady friend that watches as well. No, this is it, and it's and in all seriousness, it's really cool to see, because when it is a bit of fun, you know, and it is sometimes one or two people forget it's a bit of fun, but when you see people in the chat, you know, enjoying it and watching it, it's quite cool, for especially when if I'm commentating on D3. It's nice to have that engagement and involvement with people. And it's just nice to see. It does make me laugh though, because they really do support you, but they're always very but they're really nice as well. They feel bad when other people crash. That always makes me laugh. Yeah. But it's a bit like a Jos and a Max kind of relationship with you and your father. You kind of got Jos Verstappen in the background watching. What's your what would you say is your best track? Do you know, if you know at all, that you're looking forward to, or that's been? Yeah. Can you remember racing on any games on GP Championship, because any tracks? Because as a kid, I think I'm a bit older, but I remember driving on around the Red Bull Ring, and in particular Red Bull Ring in Hungary as a kid, and I used to love those tracks on like Formula 1 97 and all this kind of stuff. So I love racing them, and I'm okay at Austria. I'm just wondering, can you remember any of the tracks at all from back in 2004? Yeah. And what's kind of the goals for you for the rest of the season? Have you got kind of a points target, or is there someone that you're looking to beat? Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, yeah. I'll give you a challenge. I'll give you a challenge. I think you should be aiming to beat Tienta Frey. Yeah. No, definitely. That could be a one to watch out. I mean, people do it differently. I used to break the season down into 4 blocks. So my goal would be, well, this is my first ever season. I thought, right, okay, how am I going to challenge myself? Because I'm not going to be winning. I'm realistic. So I used to do 4 sets of. I used to break the calendar into quarters and say, I want to get more points every quarter than I did the previous quarter. Or you could break it into thirds. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But anything you want to say before we wrap everything up? And one final question: who is going to be the Division 3 champion? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. Well, thank you ever so much for taking the time out this evening. Have a lovely weekend, and I hope to see you do well tomorrow, my man. Cheers, Jasper. And as an extra special segment, I do have an interview via proxy with Jasper to speak on the legend that is Jasper Senior Frank. I wanted to ask him some questions, just 3 questions about his son, and potentially also about a race we're doing. So I did ask, rate your son's performance out of 10 this season. What did he say? Ooh. Fair. And there's going to be a dad's Christmas race. We've talked about this, and is Frank up for it? Oh God, no! It won't be Christmas Day. Does he think he can win? Yeah. Yeah. And that links into the last question. Obviously, you mentioned Need for Speed Underground. What other games did you play when you when you what other games did he play when he was younger, or what other games did he get into? Yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah. Cool. No, cool. I think I remember that. As in, my parents just got me like old stuff. I'm not that old. I said Ah, yeah. I had a Mega Drive, so I was just before you, but not much, not too much at all. But no, that's cool. Please thank him for doing that. I just thought it'd be a bit of fun, and look forward to seeing him in the chat on Saturday. Cool. Many thanks. Thanks again, and yeah, I will speak to you. Well, good luck, and I will now lead into the main section of the podcast.